It did it. All right. We will be live in oh, there we are. We
Yeah,
are live. How are y'all doing? Whew,
Good.
oh,
I
great.
did it.
Good.
You
I'm
did
happy
it.
now.
You
Ah,
did it. Hooray for Jermaine.
truly, because this was a mess.
I
Technology.
see you. Okay.
Ah, technology is the champ.
Mm.
Now I'm trying to actually get this lighting right because this was not the room I was supposed to be in. All right. Great, 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 great. How are y'all ladies doing?
We're good.
Doing
Good.
good.
Awesome.
And I open up this. See, now I'm just like getting everything started now. I like, yeah, I was so nervous. I wasn't going to be able to get this started. All right. And if you guys are looking on the live as well, just turn down your volume so no one hears the echo. Because now I have everything up. I can breathe now. I was so upset. Oh, okay.
You did it. You got it, girl.
Ah.
Indeed. Yes,
So,
indeed.
how are y'all ladies doing today?
Oh, great.
Awesome.
First of all, welcome to Zooming in Comfort. I had started this up from a guy who, a comedian, and to hear more, who was doing one for last year when everything shut down, especially in California. And he had a lot of entertainment people who needed just an outlet. And he started Zooming with the Homies, which is a fantastic, entertaining little program. And when we shut down here again, and then everything shut down, so it was like no kind of music, no kind of comedy, no kind of thing. I thought I want to try to start something here, at least even to have the communication between the states and here, and having us at least talk, especially with the stuff that's going on now. It is righteous, righteously hot. So I feel, you got to get things going here. So welcome you wonderful, powerful women. I love this. I love this. I love this. I love this. That is an all women show.
Yes.
I love this.
Mm,
This is showing, making sure people understand that yes, women were running this bed for several decades,
Amen.
centuries. So
true.
first, I want to go through an introduction of everybody here. I'm going to start with Angela first, since that's the first person I see on the top. And Angela, please go through your introduction. This is Angela Harris, by the way. I've known her for over 7, 8, 9, 10. I've known her for a while, but she is going to introduce herself.
I think it's no, it's since 2007.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, like
So that's
14
14
years.
years.
14
Yeah, hi,
years.
I am Angela Harris. I reside in Raleigh, North Carolina. But I lived in Sweden for a significant amount of time. So my friends tease me here saying they can take the girl out of Sweden, they can take the Sweden out of the girl, because there's some very Swedish things that I like at Christmas and stuff, but pretty much. And
And what do you do?
oh, sorry. I sell software actually. I work for a very large software company, and I sell software, and I sell into the area of Manhattan. I don't live there, but that's where I sell into.
Nice. Noreen, huh? How are you doing?
I'm awesome. I'm awesome. I'm Noreen. I'm retired from law enforcement in New York City. I'm now studying to be a doctor of funeral sciences and doing a few other things. I like to keep my hands in a lot of baskets. Um, as a retiree from New York City, I still live here for now. For now. Uh, my brain is open to many things, including the diaspora back to Africa. So we'll see what happens. I'm all for it.
And Noreen, I have known for hmm, hmm,
Lifetime.
hmm, hmm. We've known
That
each other
long.
since birth. About
Yeah, yeah.
pretty much. And Miss Shirley, please tell us you.
Hello, everyone. I live in Stockholm and I am the Chief Marketing Officer at a company that provides mental health psychological tools for people around the world for free, and also personal development and leadership development. So I guess I met you in 2011, or was
I
it
think so.
2010? Somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, okay. I don't remember the year. I thought it was even before that.
Yeah, I came to Sweden 2009. So
Okay.
maybe I did meet you in like, because I was
In
in,
between there, yeah.
yeah, it was somewhere around there. Old age is creeping now.
Truly.
Stop that.
And Kathryn, Mrs. Kathryn LeRoux. She makes me laugh
Hey.
sometimes. And she makes me
Sometimes.
cry.
I know.
Introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kathryn LeRoux. I'm from Colorado in the United States, and I went to acting school when I was 19. I moved to Los Angeles, lived there for a couple of years, and then I met my Swedish husband, and then I ended up moving to Sweden, and we've been here for the past 8 years, and I'm a comedian and a actress. And during the pandemic, I've also been a waitress. But yeah, and I met Jermaine the way that you normally meet Jermaine, which is, she'll run up to you and go, "Hey, my name's Jermaine. Like, what do you do? Come on, like let's." We were doing a
I
gig.
did not do that.
I think no, not in
No, I
that.
know. No, I know.
But like, yeah, but you were so outgoing. Like, I knew that. I definitely knew you were American though when I first met you. I was like, this is it. But yeah, we met at a comedy gig, I think, and you were
I
like
think
really
so.
well connected in the circuit as well. Like you knew a bunch of the comics that were performing already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of you. I remember, I think that was at the Hard Rock?
Hard Rock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was great. That was like an absolutely great show. That was absolutely great. And last but definitely not least, and one of the most popular of all of us, this is Lyota Swainson. Lyota, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Lyota. I'm Lyota Swainson. I'm from New York City, but I currently reside in Stockholm, Sweden. I am the co-founder of Core Radiance. It's a holistic hair care line, and that's what I'm currently doing. I met you 2009.
It was 2009.
Very well, 2009 Xing. That's where I met you.
Wow.
That's right.
I'm glad you remember. I did not remember. I just knew it was a long time.
No, I remember.
I just knew it was a long. At a zing? That was at a zing or something.
Xing.
Xing. Okay. Lovely to have you women here today. Now, I know our focus is on all these powerful women that are sitting here on this screen, but it's also a focus on those powerful women that are out there in the trenches working their butts off. But first, I'd like to have, I know I've spoken to a lot of you about what's been going on this last week, which has just been like, the pièce de résistance of anything that's been happening in the last 2 weeks. How are you guys feeling after that week is over, especially in the States? And that's, I think, more so just Noreen and Angela.
Right, that's true. I want to hear you guys' perspective.
Yeah, I mean, you're over there in the hot seat.
We've had enough time on that, quite honestly. Never counted him in because he was never voted in. Popular did not. Okay. So it's like a thing. It's just a thing. We have just a moment. I think I have a countdown of 4 days left.
Is it 4? Oh, yes, it is.
No, 4
I kept thinking it was 2. It is 4.
Living in the future.
Really not important at this point. I'm looking at what's next and counting on the fact that it's over.
Yeah.
Can't do anything but get better from here. Women are in the lead.
Yes.
That's the beautiful thing that I'm like focused on, right? Him not really significant at this point. I'm hoping they have a hand on it.
Nah.
If not, they could call me in on the detail. I'll handle it.
Oh, Lord.
But other than that, not really spending too much time on him.
Nah.
Nah.
That's cool. Because actually, more so, not even of him. That's a past and a very buried topic. But aside from just the activities themselves that had went on last week
Yeah.
and that have surpassed us at this particular point, that was more so the feeling of how you guys felt. I knew how Angela had felt. I hadn't spoken to you regarding that. And especially over here in Sweden, just watching from the outside in, thinking, okay, all right, this is interesting. This is very interesting. When is this going to end?
Well, I think that people have a misunderstanding of the situation personally. I don't think this is not going to end for a while. I think that this week has shown through the reporting that's come out, the firsthand reports from the Capitol and the Metropolitan Police Department, the case that the FBI is putting together. This is a lot more, I think, for lack of a better word, insidious than people think. And I think that it's not, even if he came out and said, I was wrong, there's no fraud, Joe Biden is the duly elected and official president of the United States, the cult that he has created, and that's what I look at as a cult, they're not even going to believe that. So I think that, it's not just him leaving office. I think it's more than that. I think that we have to look at it much deeper, and everything's come to the surface now. So I don't think it's like, oh, he's gone, we move on. No, there's so much more that has to get done to root out this particular, I would say, evil issue.
It is.
In the country. And I think that people think, okay, he's gone, we move on. No, it's not that. You cannot have a sitting president incite an insurrection. People need to, I talk to people a lot, and I always use a reference of World War II, which is people, in regards to when you look at the build up to World War II and what got Hitler in power. That sounds like a really odd analogy, but it's not really. He was, charged with not insurrection, but in the 30s, they gave him a pat on the hand, and then within less than 10 years, he was in power, and we had the beginnings of the Nazi regime. So you have to look at stuff like this seriously. Everybody has to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, but this is something that is ingrained in the people that not just stormed the Capitol, but we're on high alert through all 50 states that there are going to be supposedly incidents during the inaugural for all 50 state capitals. Michigan's, they already arrested, militia people a couple of months ago for trying to kidnap and harm the governor of Michigan. This is not going away just because he's going to be out of office, and he's going to stir up behind the scenes. The only thing that's really going to cripple him is that his businesses, people stop doing business with him, and people not supporting him on the banking side. That's the only thing that's really going to matter. He was more upset about the PGA pulling out than anything else at this golf course. So.
He still doesn't have a lawyer, right?
Yeah, he does. He has.
He does.
They're crazy, but he has lawyers. He has Alan Dershowitz, which I'm always surprised about that. He still has Giuliani, and he has there's a lawyer, I forgot her name. She's a big QAnon supporter. So this is not going away. We're gonna have to deal with this for a while.
But it's been here. It's not new. This is not something that came with him. Right. This has been here for centuries, decades. It's not a new thing. It began from the time that the ships were brought here, right? So my thing is he just stirred it up, but it's been here. It's not a new thing. That's my point. Right. My point is I'm just ready to see a different face in front of me on the camera, other than his silliness, right? But it's been here.
You have fringes. You always have fringes of society that are out there, and if one person has a platform to talk, and they feel comfortable, they feel secure in being able to show and say, okay, now I have normalized this behavior, this conversation, this dialogue is normalized, and so that's when it came out. Because even I wouldn't say that there were so many people, maybe the amount of people who voted. I don't inherently believe that. I believe people were radicalized as well because of whatever situations in their life, they were radicalized. and you can see challenges of individuals, not only in the US, but all across Europe, where you get this nationalism, nationalistic persona that you saw in Austria, you saw in Finland, you saw in different areas. And so it is a rise across the world. And I don't know what was that, snowball effect that, people, we were talking about globalization. What was it, the thing that actually started to see these type of leaders bounce up in different countries? I don't know what that, that initial match was, but it's not about Trump anymore, I believe, because like you said, Angela, he could just be quiet because he's trying not to get in a private a civil lawsuit. It is more of these people are out of control. They feel emboldened, they feel encouraged, they feel empowered. And it's scary when I saw them as high alert across 50 states. It's scary.
Yeah.
I have a lot of family members who are Trump supporters, and I have a few that aren't. And it's been one of, like, these past 4 years have been so troubling, because I know that a lot of the systematic things that we're talking about have always been there, but some really radical changes are happening in my family, where people are threatening to never talk to each other again. They're calling each other names on Facebook. They're deleting each other completely out of each other's lives. And I mean, I have my personal liberal political views, but I don't want to lose my family, and I don't want to, I like, it drives me insane that this one person kind of got this snowball effect going, that it's like, you're going to take my family too. You're going to take us all away from each other. And it's amazing to, like, look back on the past couple of years and just see the insane radical changes that have been happening to all of us, I think. But when you were talking about, Angela, when you were talking about Nazi Germany, like, I think about it all the time, because I talk to my family members, and sometimes I've had to let go of so much anger and frustration and talk to them with compassion and empathy and just ask them a lot of questions. And that's really challenging, because it's not, I don't know if it's helping or not, but I often think about that. Like, what was that pre-period like? And could you talk to people? Like, could you kind of, are we in a stage where we can still kind of gain people back? Or have we just gone so far away that we just need to defend and protect? It's a bit to me, I'm boiling, actually. Like, I can't believe this guy got impeached twice and he's still the freaking president. Like, it drives me insane. Like, it feels like it does nothing to me. Like, I'm barred from ever running again. Like, oh God, New York, please throw this man in prison. Oh my God. Do you guys think Joe Biden's going to do it? That's the question. Do you think Joe Biden's going to pardon this guy?
No, I don't think he'll pardon him. I think that I think he wants to stay away from this as much as he can. I think he's up to really, who's up to? So, and it's why it was so interesting we're having this talk about powerful women, because I think that the most powerful woman right now is Nancy Pelosi. And let me tell you, not only is she powerful, she's smart, she's astute, she's old school. And she's like, oh, you want to come in my house? And it really shows the fact that they were all coming for her. Mm-hmm. They wanted to assassinate her. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, they talked about assassinating Pence too. That's a whole other story. But Nancy Pelosi, to me, the last year and this election and everything that we're coming apart has been spearheaded by women. Nancy Pelosi, Stacey Abrams.
Yes.
Stacey Abrams. The mayors.
Patriot. True patriot.
The mayors, the mayor of Washington, the mayor of Atlanta, the mayor of Chicago, we have, women, and have been spearheading. But to me, this last week, from what happened as I was off last week, and I sat in my office, and I'm looking at the insurrection happening as I'm sitting there in pajamas going, oh my God, they're breaking into the Capitol. Oh my gosh, this is like serious. But to me, Nancy Pelosi is like, she's no joke. She's like, about everything. I think that, and also, excuse me, I don't want to forget this because I am a Democrat, but I have lots of Republican friends. But Liz Cheney, I have to give a shout out to Liz Cheney, the third highest Republican in charge in the House. She stood her ground. She believes in the Constitution, and she's like, Trump's got to go. And Liz Cheney. So Pelosi and Liz Cheney are, to me, from a powerful perspective, really from a positive too, this last week. So we have to kind of look at that kind of stuff too, because, some of the things that we're hearing and, what they're justifying what happened. I'm sorry. It's like somebody breaking into your house. You're like, oh, well, they really didn't mean to break in. And they weren't going to do anything when they broke in. And I didn't get harmed or anything. So we're just going to let them go. That's what the Republican congressmen and senators who are backing this are saying. And that's how it equates to me. So
what I'm so excited about is that businesses are stepping up to say, okay, we're not going to fund people who have either denied that the election was fair and ballot. And if US is still a capitalist society, they're so scared of this. I hate the word when they say socialism, or what they think is Sweden is. But if you actually, money talks. If you start diverting your money, your dollars, your, whatever the currency is, to those people who are pushing out untruths, that can actually make a change as well. And so I call on every powerful woman who is on a board seat or in the top of an organization, because when I worked for a large FMCG company headquartered in Cincinnati at one point, it was, you get these lobbyists that come into the organization and say, hey, can you, urge your employees to donate to this type of, fund or, nonprofit. I urge that business community changes and communicate that, and move their dollars to other groups.
Yeah, that would be the smartest thing across the board, because then we actually show where that power lies. Where the power lies. That's in essence where what we have to do. Because I remember I was reading something about the fact that, from what happened last week, and it's to a point where, like, look, this is how it went. You lost. This is how it's going to go. And like you say, and now if we direct everything to what we find that is not just positive, but will bring up, will literally not pay us back, but give us more, then that's all that's necessary to be done. Because we do have as much power as we're imagining we do. I think a lot of people don't think they have as much power as they imagine they do. And I felt that was why so many things had went slow in the interim. But I think when we watched women, especially like Stacey, who just like, okay, I'm not here as governor, but I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. I'm going to keep on going, and I'm going to make this grow, and I'm going to do what I need to do in order to have whatever positive I need out of this to happen. I have to do my best. And I'm hoping that's what others see, like all of you say. And we do those things. We pour our money and our appreciation and most of our foundation into those things that are positive.
Yeah, I agree. I think the one thing that Stacey Abrams did, the most important thing that she did, I think, is that she pulled the curtain back to show that what's been going on after Jim Crow, after all the Voting Rights Act, that there has been systematic voter suppression. And people also need to realize that it's not just voting at the national level. You have to vote at the local and the state level, state legislatures. Right. So to me, what she really uncovered is that, wow, when we get out and vote, we make a change. We've been suppressed. We can't have that anymore.
Yeah.
So, and we've proven that. So that's to me the most important thing that, to me, it's from a foundational perspective that she was able to do for us.
And the education of it all is that it's not just the presidency that counts.
Right.
The presidency is just where we have to also vote every 2 years as well for our legislation, or else nothing's going to get done the way we really want it done.
That's true.
Well, but I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions about how many military people are in the White House right now. I mean, I feel like taking the high road is often the one that's harder and takes longer. Like Stacey Abrams has been doing this for like the better part of a decade. Like she didn't do this last year, you know. It's taken a lot of effect and a lot of hours to be able to do this. And like Nancy Pelosi has had decades and decades of experience to put all of this in there. I was like really disturbed at like seeing the White House the way that it is. But like we said with the militia, like what else are we supposed to do? You know, like should we just clear the building? And like, I don't know, isn't it a little crazy and like disturbing to see?
I don't think you clear the building, because think about on 9/11, that if you are facing and need to communicate back to a terrorist, you have to not show fear. I mean, that's the underlying thing. You cannot show fear. You have to show strength. And so vacating is fear, I believe. I'm just going to leave it at that and let other people talk. But you cannot negotiate and you cannot show fear. Life has to continue on because that's what they want you to do.
I agree.
In the back of my mind, though, I have no real harsh military background, though I do have a lot of people who are in the military in my life. I thought about the fact that our American military has to fight our American people. That the thought that these men and women are in the Capitol with weapons, just in case, not from a foreign land, which is what they're actually what their training is to do, but they are in their own, on their own ground, having to maybe shoot to kill.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made it sad for me.
Yeah.
It didn't anger me. It was painful to see men and women from these grounds, this dirt, this soil, sleeping on the ground to protect our own space. Like that's
from our
sad.
own people.
Yeah, that's sad. Can't even get angry about it. It's just we're in interesting times.
I just didn't think it would, like I have family in the military as well, and it just, if I've asked them, like, can a militia could never overturn the US military. It's the US military. Like, so I just didn't think it was possible. Like, I think that's why I was initially a little shocked, was that, I didn't realize that we were that threatened, like that the FBI had maybe seen that they were going to bomb like what did they have that they knew that people, I just didn't think people would have the guts or the gusto, honestly, to go after it if they knew that something like this could happen. Maybe now.
I think back to the Oklahoma bombing, when everybody thought that it was foreign lands that blew up the Oklahoma building, and it was just like two white guys who didn't want to pay their taxes. And, it was like, came right back to home. It was like, oh, okay. These two American men blew up a building, blew up a state building.
Damn.
Because just for that, and killed children and adults. I mean, and now here we are.
What's that Netflix series? Because when I was watching it, I said, "Oh my God, this is just like." It was something about the whole federal building, Capitol Hill, was blown up, and there was, someone who was just
designated survivor.
Yes, designated survivor. when I was watching it, I was like, oh my God, this is scary, because you got a bunch of people and then you got a lot of other countries that may not be at the most friendliest to the US. You don't know what could actually happen, because then you got focus going elsewhere. Then you could have real, enemies of the US coming in, and you have everyone there on this day voting. So it is the prime time for countries who are not friendly to the US could have done real damage to all the people in the Capitol that represent our democracy, represent the whole democracy of the US and all the leaders in there. That scared the hell out of me when I was watching it.
Yeah, I feel that a lot of countries are allies and not allies. We're just looking at, I mean, this is the image I have. They're sitting in their respective homes, eating popcorn, doing more snacks, watching the U.S. implode with Trump. That's what I think. I think it's a more hyped up version of The Apprentice. But I think that that's how I viewed it. I think that, what's going to come, I think what's going to be really interesting is the next several months, as they start making a lot more video. They're able to show a lot more video of the armed combat and what happened in the Capitol, the defecation that was happening in the Capitol, the stories behind, the Metropolitan Police and the Capitol Police, making sure that the legislatures and the senators and their families, whoever was there at the time, were safe. Because this could have been the goal was to disrupt the certification process. Mm-hmm. If they had gotten Pence and they had actually killed him, because that's what they were looking for. If they got Pelosi and they actually, they were looking to take legislatures, take senators, take the speaker. I mean, all those things. I mean, I think we dodged a bullet in that regard, and we shouldn't take that lightly. Like, okay, let's let them go. So like now, the big story one this morning is that now, Trump wants a 21 gun salute when he leaves. He's not going to go to the inauguration. But, it's like the only thing that's really going to affect him is that a true impeachment, right. I think a conviction. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But ultimately, Deutsche Bank made a statement. His private banker made a statement this past week. They're, calling his money. The companies that are divesting themselves of his businesses, the cities or divesting themselves of the contracts with his business. It seems that his entire family is moving to Florida now, FYI. So how it's affecting their brand. So they're very concerned about their brand right now.
You said something about popcorn, and this is a lighter note. When I was watching the actual, insurrection, I was getting served up ads of popcorn. Literally, I was served up Google ads of popcorn.
Wow.
And I'm wondering if anyone else had, and it made me go in and make popcorn because I was literally watching it and eating popcorn.
Wow.
Yeah,
that is interesting.
I didn't either. I was watching it on CNN, so on TV, so I didn't see that. But that's what it felt like. It felt like, oh, we're watching a show. Let's look at the show. What's happening? Oh my God, I can't believe this happened with the show. Oh my gosh, and people don't realize it's not a show. This affects everyone's life. Mm-hmm. And for me, I look at it from the business community. Like after the incident with George Floyd, a lot of companies put out statements to their employee base about being careful with the protests and so forth and so on. And and I was surprised that a lot of companies didn't immediately put out any statements in regards to the insurrection. Mm. I think we just got a statement stating because of the inauguration coming up, we just got a statement about being careful because of protests locally and stuff of that nature. But I think that this affects people as much or more, or in the same vein as what happened with George Floyd it all affects you as an individual. If it doesn't, then then you're very removed from life, I think, in some respects.
So true. So true. But
I'm not
Mhm.
surprised by any of what occurred.
Yeah.
That insurrection doesn't surprise me. This is just, like we're all saying, the lead in to the blow up.
Yeah.
Painful though it is that the men and women have to sleep in the Capitol, yes, very shocking, very sad, very painful. But am I surprised? Mm-mm,
Mhm.
mm-mm. Do I think we might actually get to some crazy in these streets? Mm-hmm. Do I think we all should be preparing for that in America?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Like that's real. And I hate to say it so matter of factly, but as someone who's looking at it with that other set of eyes, oh, I see it. I
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm looking forward to it so we could get to some real change.
Well, that's it. And that's what I felt about Trump initially. You know, I looked at him, he was a necessary evil because I think a lot of us are going through things in life that other people don't see or keep saying it's not true or it could never be, or they would have never done that unless he did this.
Mm.
And now they have an opportunity because of him, it's on the surface now. We have all the videos. You see people getting acquitted, even though you saw what they did. And now the country is divided. So it goes back to the one from Colorado. What's your name, sweetheart?
Kathryn.
Kathryn, yeah, Kathryn, division. Because either you're in or you're out. Not in or out. You're going to take a stand now. There's no way anymore for people to sweep things under the rug. You're going to find out who your family is, who your friends are, okay? And the country is going to be divided. And this is a necessary evil because if this didn't happen, we could never have change. If you have a large aspect of the country that says, no, that couldn't be, and it's not true, and it's not this, and it's not that, because I've never seen it before, nothing will change. Everything's on the table. So it's going back to what Noreen is saying. I mean, as soon as the guy was was put into the office, I knew the gig's up. This is a necessary evil for change, and we have to go through it.
Yeah, I agree.
What does that mean?
So get ready. Get ready. That's my message. Get
Now,
ready.
get ready, Noreen. Ex-police officer, what do you mean by that? Please be specific.
Like, make sure your cupboards are in order.
Okay, that's what my
You know, like the old folks used to say, put some change under your pillow, baby.
yeah.
It's real.
It's true.
Yeah.
Learn how to bake.
Well,
Have some seeds in your house so you could grow your own vegetables.
I am finding you in the zombie apocalypse. Like
Yeah.
I really need you as a partner, please.
Listen, for the first time last year, I watched people growing greens in their front yard. Yes.
On my
Yep.
terrace.
Grow it
Yep.
On my terrace.
in New York.
Really? Really?
Yes. Yes.
And
And it's going to go harder now.
I just can't relate. I'm like thinking that you're like so off base, not, because I'm not there, right? I'm
Living
like,
good, girl.
you gotta like learn how to bake. Well, I learned how to bake during COVID.
Right. And isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
How universe is setting it up to happen
Yeah.
so that we're all ready.
Oh, that's what it is.
Mm.
COVID thing is preparing us to live on lean times now, get our head around. Is that what you think this is about? I never thought of
I don't know, but anything, possibilities are endless. It's just interesting how it dropped. And suddenly we're in quote unquote 1 year of quiet peace, being still, being with self, checking in, and yet still seeing the foolishness outside the window, right?
Child.
It's just interesting. It's very interesting to me. Very
Calm
interesting.
before the storm.
perspective. Yeah, you're right. It's preparing.
Calm before the storm. But there was there was so much brewing in there that we still needed all that, like you say, we were sitting back and like Noreen said, plant those seeds, get, stock up. It's literally like stock up.
What do you think is the next evolutionary shift? Because when you do get, when society is going through a change and then it's about to implode, what do we vision that next shift going to be? Is it, because I guess I don't subscribe to doom and gloom. I'm always that, the glass is half full kind of person. So I try to see opportunities and, in the most dire situation.
Mhm.
So is it that our history book, not when I was growing up, is going to try to have more truth to it? Is it that, people are more going to think about climate change? Is it that more people, I don't know, more people getting involved into politics, understanding, like my husband said, I never knew so many counties in the US. I've learned more about the geography of the US.
Mhm.
Are we going to be more connected because of this?
Yes,
Because,
yes, yes, and yes.
yeah. So I don't have the answer. Just, I'm trying to, be a little visionary. So, okay, what exactly is I'm in the mental health business, right? So, and it's, and we work with not treatment, but with prevention. So, and we say that if get people to work on their inner growth and their inner development, we can then have systematic change worldwide because we're all at a different level of consciousness.
Mhm.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
And so, I don't know, I'm just pontificating right now, but
No, but
That's
it's a good,
fine. That's how we.
it's a great point, actually.
But you know
Just
what it begins with? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Angela. I thought you. Go ahead.
no. I was thinking about this because I'm thinking about this because when I came back to the U.S., I went back into the corporate world, and I think about, we have a lot of millennials who have no. We have two different types of millennials. Those who are woke, who really are understand, and those who've never experienced those issues, so they have no connection to these issues whatsoever. I think about people that, like in 2020, I'm still documenting issues of incidents of microaggression toward me, and I've been working a long time, so it's this, I'm like, I'm sorry, we talk about this all the time and you still do it, type of thing. So I think for me, what I see is that you're right. It's going to be one where, nobody in my family is a Republican, but I have a lot of Republican friends. And when all this is happening, there were a couple of friends that were on the fringe. And I'm like, do I defriend them? Do I unfollow them? Do I be more empathetic? Do I just let it go and say, hey, I want to see what they're saying because I just want to be in the know, and just kind of leave it alone. But also, I think that it's something that I think that as people of color and women, we've been certain things have been ingrained in us. I think about, one of the things my dad, was a college football coach, a pro coach. And he always would say, less said, best said, keep your head down, always be mindful of that, always be looking out, from, people are going to be jealous. I mean, there's always going to be a bullseye on your back. I'm like, consistently, he would always say that. And I think of that era, he's in his late 70s, going in the 80s, and that's the mindset. So I think also there's a part of us, there's a mindset change that needs to happen internally for us to kind of, take that part of that, we do have control. We don't have to just deal with, if we get a microaggression. If someone says to me, oh, I just love the way you speak. You speak so well. 2020, someone said that to me in writing.
In writing.
Jesus.
In writing.
Did you leave a voicemail or something? No, I'm just joking.
No. It was they listened to our recordings and we talked to clients and they were asking me if I wanted to be part of a company, something, and that was there. And then when once George Floyd happened, we started these things called Daring Dialogues with our company, which basically is to talk about the microaggressions, the implicit bias, all these things are happening, for our particular employees. And during this call, I get an email saying, I think that maybe something I said might be construed as a microaggression based on what I'm hearing on this on this Daring Dialogue. And I thought to myself, if you have to write me a note saying that you think what you said was a microaggression, that means that yes, it was a microaggression, and you're just trying to see how I'm going to react to it. And I actually had to call my brother to say, can you talk me off a ledge, and how do I respond to this? Where that you're not giving them an out, but you're not like, you're being even keeled about it. So yeah, I think that we have to, there's so many things that are been ingrained in us, that we need to kind of step out of that too. Part of all this is our responsibility as well. And, to make that effort, and so I think that's to me, that's gonna be the transformative thing that comes out of all of this craziness, and the necessary evil that, Trump has been and what he's brought about. We've got to come out of what we've been ingrained with, from our parents and, what's come before, so that we can, have a say, and our say can be heard. I think that sometimes, they don't hear us, so.
I think, oh, sorry, Jermaine.
No, go ahead, Kathryn.
I was just going to say that something that concerns me about living in Sweden is, like, when we're talking about the George Floyd protests, I look back on this summer, and that, we had some friends, some of my husband's friends and family over, for a couple of us were sitting around, and like the protests were still going on, and I was like in a turmoil, I was like kind of glued to my screen, and I was like participating in a lot of talks or listening to a lot of stuff, and they were just kind of like laughing and having punch and champagne and having a great day, and it just seemed like so far off of their conscious. And I kind of like, I walked in and I realized, like, I'm standing in a room full of white people. They have all white families. Almost all of their friends are white. Like, it's just sometimes, even if they might be well-intentioned, it's like the lack of being involved, I think, can be very just as harmful, to be honest. That's something that concerns me in the next couple of years. Like, I mean, America sets trends, and then Sweden kind of can like very quietly follow them until there's Sverige Demokraterna, and boom,
I wouldn't blame it on Sweden, because I'm an independent voter, and I voted for Republicans and I have voted for Democrats, and I'm probably more on the conservative side. And then I'm really about law and order, because I had a lot of people in my family that did things that growing up I didn't like. So I'm more strict on law and order, and I have zero tolerance for any kind of drugs, so it's a lot of conservative sides to me. And what you said about the George Floyd incident, you could also say the same thing, that I wasn't, really connected to the story. Maybe because I've been away, from the US for a while, or maybe I make my own reality in some other. I'm not going to excuse it, and I'm not going to even say, I wouldn't blame it on Sweden. I blame it on where we as society sometimes are thinking about our own self rather than a collective group of people as a human race. So I hear you, Kathryn, but I disagree with you, because I don't want to blame a country because of, it's a homogeneous type of, I mean, Sweden has challenges, and as Sweden, every country has its challenges, but I'm a mixed African-American woman with a lot of other crap, and I'm like completely separated from any of that, what was going on. And when I did want to engage, I had to call my family and say, what's going on with this? And I was a naysayer as well. And, I'm seeing this lot on your live, and it's like admitting something that I'm probably you're not very proud of admitting, but I want to also be truthful and be authentic and tell you where I'm coming from. I'm not looking for hate people to come after me and say, oh, you're not, a true Black person, but I wasn't that emotionally tied to it. So you can actually put me, I'm not trying to debate you, I'm always doing the devil's advocate, but you could put me in that same bucket with your friends.
I mean, I think it was just maybe that I was feeling like at that time that it was a big wake up call from like me and the other white people that are in my life to take responsibility and to start kind of noticing those microaggressions that we might make without being conscious of that. It was like kind of more about that perspective that I had a personal wake up call that, you know, a lot of, I feel like a huge problem that I've noticed in the stand-up comedy world in Stockholm is that it's extremely segregated. Like that it's a lot of white comedians, a lot of white male comedians, and then it's some chicks sometimes. We'd be super lucky if we got more people of color. I mean, Jermaine, I feel like you've been to a lot of shows. Like it's it's pretty white. And so I mean, I like those are things that I don't know. Yeah, I don't think that anybody has to do anything. I think that can be tough sometimes. Like, you know, a friend here who was doing a lot of interviews and stuff, I think he also had to take a step back at some moments and, you know, yeah, like I don't need to be connected to this today. It's like no judgment or anything. It was just a like, yeah, I don't know. I feel responsibility now more than ever, and that I'm like very contemplative during this conversation what I'm gonna do with my family. Like, I'm gonna write them letters. Like, I'm gonna make some social post on Facebook. Like, I don't know, stuff like that. What are we gonna do now?
You can also block them for a year on WhatsApp. I did that with somebody in my family.
Yeah. Oh.
Wait, what'd you do?
Block them on WhatsApp for a year.
Okay, that could be cool. Just sit them in timeout for a while.
But I think a lot of it, especially when you're talking about here in Sweden and like you say, the saturation of when everything was happening in the States, and we as Americans and as Black Americans that are here, everybody was coming at us. Well, what do you think about that? And what do you think about that? I was like, okay, you're human. What do you think about it?
Right.
What I mean, we probably have similar feelings. Mine aren't any more valid than your feelings. The only thing different is that I am American, so maybe it hits me a little closer. I'm a Black American, hits me a little harder too. But you know what? It should hit you just as hard. It should hit you just as hard to see all that stuff that's happening in the States. Huh?
It's the humanistic part.
Yeah.
That's it. You should, as on a humanistic level, have some feeling of injustices and not to be desensitized by it, because that's where the problem lies, you know? And this change needs to happen that way. You have to see it's a human thing. And this is it. I don't know how we can do that, but maybe having these discussions, talking about it, showing it, to bring an awareness to it. Nothing is going to change if we don't have that connection, a human connection to others.
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing now, especially with having a connection, just people just paying attention. The biggest thing is people paying attention. I know I'm going to bring this up anyway. Like when I remember I was on the election watch, and was more so one of the foreign reporters had seen the video from our band song called Universe, and she liked it because it was very current. It was a song that stayed with the times. And the biggest thing that I had to notice, because it went with the times, is my complaint was that people didn't pay attention anymore. People were so much into their own little world, not looking up, not doing this, and then all that stuff like a whirlwind was happening above, and they was like, well, it doesn't affect me personally, so I'm just stay right down here in my bubble until everything just, and then it was like, oh, what the hell happened? A lot happened, and a lot of it could have been avoided if you paid attention. A lot of it could have maybe slowed down if you had done something, if you were an active participant. And that's what's happening now. You know, in 2020, we had to, like you say, we had to chill out. But I think hopefully people started to watch more, because now we're sitting down. Now we're not into those activities we used to be in, because now we have to sit down and stay home. So now we have to look at other things. And that made people start paying attention to other things that were probably much more important than the little trivial things that they were actually concerning themselves with in the first place. You know, and now 2021, here we are. You know, we're probably not so far from where we could possibly go, because most people are still inside. the thing we have to look forward to at this particular point is the vaccinations going further. Maybe things coming back to a regular state. Not going to happen in the next 2 weeks. Might happen in the next 4 months. But we still have to take each step one day. Well, each day one step at a time. Nothing's going to happen in a hurry. So we still have to pay attention. People are still watching, and that's all we have to do now. We have to pay attention and watch, and be alert. And I think that's, when I talked about even with power women and powerful women, uh, that's in 220, we paid a lot of attention to that. People saw if there were a lot of women stepping up because a lot of men weren't. These men who were supposedly in power were just doing stuff that wasn't in balance with the rest of the climate, and everybody else had to step up as women, as most women would. And we were fortunate enough to have enough strong women that stepped up and did their thing and brought us to this particular point. But I must also first of all cheer for, because I've had a lot of, this is also a big thing, a lot of women, a lot of people after the election were like, oh, you have your first, Black vice president. I was like, no, no, no. We have our first woman vice president.
Yeah.
I said, we have our first woman. We have our first Black woman. She got a lot of accolades behind that. And that first one is woman, because we have not had that.
Yeah.
And then all the other accolades are there, are evident. It don't even need to be discussed. But yeah, we, of course, we put them on the line. But like I said, at this particular point, I'm just hoping that as things go on, that there be a lot more progression, that be a lot more positive progression, at least. I don't know.
I
I'm
can
hoping.
definitely say I got more involved these past 4 years than I have ever in an election, because I was starting to follow other senators that were running for office, like Amy McGrath in Kentucky, who was running against Mitch McConnell.
Mhm.
So I gave her some money. I gave Stacey Abrams some money when she was running. And I was like, I've never felt more empowered than to just be like, you know what? Like, if I can't vote, then I'm going to give money towards the system that's going to help change. And it felt so good to see all of these different women running. It was a really good thing. Yeah, a lot of good things. You're right. I mean, Trump is terrible, but a lot of good things happened, and I got more involved. So that's good.
Yeah, there was a lot of preparation. A lot of preparation for this rough year that we have had.
And
See,
the
now I
added,
want popcorn. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
wait, the
I know.
added,
I was like,
the,
salt, please.
Go ahead, Noreen. Sorry.
but even looking at us, the six of us, right?
Mhm.
We can see our differences, but we can also see how we are the same. Like woman is the first one, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
But part of it, and what's so paramount in this whole thing, is listening to hear and receive
Yes.
rather than to respond.
Yes.
Like every client I sit with, those are like that's probably the second sentence, because we're experiencing differently. We're living differently. Everybody's not living in a big, beautiful house on 2 acres of land with sheep running around and a horse over here. And everybody's not living that way. Everybody doesn't have somebody coming in to clean their house and support them in that way. You know what I mean? But we got to just listen to hear, because the experiences are so different. And if we did that, then we might come to an understanding like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
I felt this way about the George Floyd police, but I guess hearing this person, I could understand why they might feel that way. And now we come to an understanding with each other where I can actually embrace you and say, you know what? I love you, sis. And mean it, right? Because we run around with that real easy too. But are we really about it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hitting the nail
So
on the
true.
head. You're very right. The perspectives,
Yes.
it's needed. Listening is important, and communication is, because sometimes I'll think something and I realize I should ask, because a lot of times I'm wrong. What I thought it was isn't what it actually was. So it's good to communicate and listen to how someone was thinking and why they did what they did, you know, or
Mhm.
what was going on. So communication, listening and speaking is paramount. That's change. Definitely.
At my job, we say holding space for others.
Holding space. Okay. So that's
Yeah.
listening. It means listening and
It's, without, because just like Noreen said, without responding.
right, just pondering. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So holding the space for others while they're talking.
Mhm.
I'm still learning that.
I think most of us are.
No, I'm not playing music. My husband's phone is going off, and
Oh,
and I know he doesn't hear it. Okay, talk. I have to turn this off. 1 second.
Okay.
It's a jazzy ringtone. I like it.
I know.
Sure
So
is.
Replace it. Yeah.
I know that was pretty cool.
Mhm.
So, Angela, my family, a lot of my family, or some of my family, is in Raleigh, North Carolina, and we
Oh,
were,
really?
yeah, last year, and my husband's first time of actually, he wanted to see an American Thanksgiving. It's also my aunt's 70th birthday, so we had it at a hotel. So it wasn't like, that time you're cooking before the Thanksgiving. So we have to make it there again for a real Thanksgiving. Yeah, so Raleigh is really nice.
Raleigh has evolved. I moved back here. I was in LA before I moved to Sweden. And so when I left Sweden, I was going to go back to LA, but my mom was here. My brothers were here, and I came back to North Carolina, and I was like in culture shock for a year. But Raleigh has definitely evolved. From the business community has evolved. Downtown has definitely evolved, and it's I still miss being in a metropolitan city. I miss that feel, but it definitely has. I mean, the cost of living is decent here. The job market's improved. You have people here because of the university system here. You have Duke, NC State, UNC, but you have 100 other four-year universities and here too. So you have a culturally you have a pretty good mix, but it's still North Carolina. It's still, to me, it used to be run by Senator Jesse Helms. He's passed away now, but it's still North Carolina.
Yeah.
Though we have a Democratic governor, but I think our last election, our governor was reelected, but we elected a Black Republican lieutenant governor, actually.
Yeah.
Which that's interesting. So yeah, North Carolina has its moments.
Yeah.
There are moments when I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I'm a dual citizen. And then but I can't even get into Sweden now. I mean, I probably could if I really made the effort, but because of COVID, so. Yeah.
How are you guys? How is everyone doing? I mean, with the vaccine, you can't even say it's on its way. It's here. I know tons of my friends from the States have gotten their vaccinations, and I'm very upset.
Really?
Oh, yes.
I'm not on the list yet.
Oh no! See, these are people who are
nurses and doctors.
No, a lot of them aren't nurses because they've gone beyond that. What shocked me was that, especially the comparison I only have is to here, the UK and the US. And I say to myself, with all the stuff that is going on in the US and y'all still getting them shots out there, and the lineup here, they haven't even gotten halfway or a third through that first level of folk that are supposed to get it.
Your friends must be fortunate, because all I hear here is the fact that, one, there is not a reserve amount of vaccines available like they were told there would be. Two, Secretary Azar just resigned today. And basically, they're going to have to revamp how they're, going to roll out, the vaccination part, because they basically were kind of holding stuff back. So I don't know when I'm going to get on a list personally, and I'm at risk. But so the only people I know getting vaccinations are healthcare frontline workers.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So
I think mostly it's the healthcare for here. It's healthcare and the elderly that are in homes who are supposed to be getting them, but not fast enough, I don't think. But I'm hoping, that the process goes a little quicker and a lot more smoothly as the weeks go on. And now that we are in Q&A, yeah, it would be. And how are you guys doing though? Now that 2021 has begun, what do you see? You see this? Do you see yourself progressing in 2021? At least the first quarter. What do you see for yourselves?
I got a cat. Comfort kitty.
Hey, No, there are moments I wish I had a dog. Go ahead.
we're helping someone watch their cat. I don't know. In the entertainment industry, it looks pretty melancholy this year. I think they're going to keep everything shut down for a while longer, and I think it was just unfortunate to be in the stand-up comedy industry because you really need an audience for that. You can't do jokes without having response. Otherwise, we look like narcissistic assholes, But I don't know. Like I'm actually kind of excited because Noreen, what you were saying about like just getting back to self and thinking about those things. I'm going to be writing a lot this year. I have some online work that I was able to find, fortunately. So everything's going to work out. I don't know. It's very cold and icy outside as well. So I'm kind of just inside all the time now. Feels very chill so far, apart from the US stuff. But is everybody else feeling this of 2021 already?
I'm feeling very excited. I mean, I have things going on at work where we are launching a whole program with a couple other organizations for young adults age 15 to 20 who are struggling with loneliness and mental health. So that feeling good, doing good feels, it's filling a bucket inside of me. And then like personally, I'm trying to work on my mind, my body, my soul, in so many different ways, from like, the working out to the surgical part too. I'm doing all of it. And then, writing, trying to write. And because I've been having a book that I had the book outline, sketched out and chapters and all of that. And I said, okay, maybe this is the time when I have this downtime to invest in things that has been on that bucket list, but I never got a chance to really dive in. So I'm pretty inspired. I do miss going to the theater because I'm a theater goer. Usually we buy tickets.
We love you.
Yes, and my husband and I were like, oh my God, it would be great when we can finally go to the theater.
Yeah. Ange, Lee?
Oh, me?
Hmm?
Okay, I will start off by saying that for 2021, I think because, my mom passed away 3 months ago, unexpectedly. And that's still pretty raw with me. And what it's made me do is, number one, I went to every doctor I could to get every checkup I possibly could to make sure I was okay. Physically, because, my mom just she basically dropped dead. And and the other piece of this pie, it's really made me, I've always been a workaholic, and I've always been very, a former colleague of mine said, you care way too much about this job. You care way too much. And this has in the last 3 months stressed me out from a work perspective, that I really need to sit back and say, am I valued? Am I appreciated? Am I in an environment that is going to help me get to the next level where I want to go? Mm-hmm. And I think that, and it's okay to say no, and it's okay. You don't have to be nice all the time. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, it's that's all very hard because I internalize all this. So for me, this quarter is about change. Change for me personally, change, potentially for, maybe for my work environment or what I'm doing in that regard, possibly, but also just kind of setting a better foundation and all about putting myself first with my health, obviously, but also, taking it into effect of, okay, making sure my voice is heard. I know a lot of people, I talk a lot on this great stuff like that, but is your voice really being heard by the people that need to hear it, type of thing. So for me, for lack of a better, it's a very transformative time. So to me, it's all about transformation. I don't know what I'm going to end up being like in 6 months. I have no idea. I mean, I bought a house during the pandemic, number one.
Yes.
So I can get out of my 1-bedroom apartment. I did that, all these things happen, with the family, we're going into all these other things happening around the world. And then you really got to step back and say, well, how is this affecting me? And it's dramatically affected me. So I've got to get out of my own way in that regard. So to me, this is all about transformation, in everything.
So Angela,
Yes.
if you had your mind's eye view so open that you can't even think about a close, and you could do what it is that you want to do the way that you lead it in your own way, what would you be doing?
Okay.
That's big, isn't it?
It's interesting. Yeah. I've always envisioned myself speaking to large groups, talking about life experiences, talking about, different things that maybe I've experienced and maybe other people are going through too. That's what I've always seen myself as being, of doing. That if someone said you could do that, you can make as much money as you need to make during that could bring you the most joy, that would be it. That, and, maybe writing a book, which with my ADD, I'm like trying to get that happening, and that's like another story. But I really feel like I get the most comfort and joy and satisfaction out of that. That's a passion. So if I had to do anything in my mind's eye, that would be it.
I'm going to connect you to some people in the U.S., Angela, for some engagements.
Time for branding. If not now, then when?
Yeah.
If not now, then when?
Yeah,
exactly.
It's true. I mean, like, I think, Jermaine, remember when I was getting ready to leave Sweden, it's like, man, you could write a book. You could write a book about your experiences.
Yeah. That could be a film, man.
Let's make it happen. Talk to me.
That's a film.
Jermaine knows. Jermaine, I would say that, I met Jermaine probably like within the first year that I moved there. So I moved in there in April of 2007. I can vividly remember you, me, Yvonne walking to Gloria's house. Yeah. Before her husband passed, and meeting Gloria, and we're watching some kind of TV program or something. I remember that distinctly. Because I was all new to Sweden. So I was coming from LA, like, oh my God. But Jermaine knows. I mean, we can tell some stories, huh, Jermaine? I mean, okay.
After meeting Angela and the situation she was in, it made little colors of me change inside and behave in ways I would not normally behave in front of other people. So I had to literally curb myself. I'm like, you know what? Let me shut up. Let me just sit back.
No, but it's funny though, because when I think about it, it's like I can smile and joke about it now, and I said, oh yeah, my husband threw me out of a car. I'm like, I mean, at the time it wasn't funny, and luckily I didn't break a bone. Mm-hmm. But I could say things like that. Oh yeah, he threw me out of a car. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's like you don't think that, oh my God, but when you step back, think about, well, damn, your husband threw you out of a moving car. You don't, you weren't hurt, so you're like, okay, well, not that bad. But you think about certain things, like when he cut off the heat in the house for almost 2 years, literally. I mean, you think about in the middle of that was one of our toughest winters we had. Yeah. And he cut off the heat totally to the house, period, when we were going through our separation. And, but then you think about how strong you are as an individual. I'm like, okay, I had a space heater. And then, I broke in the garage and found
Remember that?
the remote
The
to
remotes.
to the other heater, and I got that in the house. I mean, all
Yep.
these things you do, and you think about it, it's like, oh my gosh, you did that? Like, oh, so. I mean, now not that it's funny, it was traumatic at the time. Don't get me wrong. Many a time you're on the train going from, Vastahanaga to down to T Central, and you're just bawling because of what you're having to go through with the legal system within Sweden. So that's the one thing too. I always tell people, I learned the legal system in Sweden by watching Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah.
Movie number 3, where they show the court scene. That's exactly, remember, Jermaine, that's exactly how the court was during my divorce.
Yep.
It was like, so you think about all these little things that maybe Americans don't get, but if you're in Sweden, you're like, oh yeah, okay, got that. So so I've been away from it enough that the emotional aspect of it is not as pulling as it was, it was not as fresh as it was right when I came back to the States. It's been several years. So now I look at it, I'm like, I can talk matter of factly about it, but hey, it was, there are women that went through so much worse than what I went through, much worse, children affected, all this other stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then, so I would always tell people when they would come to Sweden, oh, are you married? Did you marry him? Are you legally married? Oh, you're Sambo? You better make sure this is taken care of, because all those things happen, and being mindful of that. So yeah, I could write a book probably. Yeah. Different. I had a different experience, but I wouldn't trade. Honestly, I would not trade any of that, because basically, I tell people that I've met people. I'm getting a little verklempt here. Sorry. I met people from all around the world, different life experiences that I would have never met if I had not come to Sweden. I learned how strong I was as an individual, but I have so many friends from my time in Sweden that are my friends to this day, will be my friends for the rest of my life. So I went through some tough times, do not get me wrong, surreal, no doubt. But the enrichment of my life from strengthening me from those experiences, but also the friendships. I mean, our girls' night out dinners and lunches, the events that we did, all the people that we follow now. I mean, that I still follow on Facebook. I follow Lyota, and I love her experiences, and I follow Jermaine, and the band, and that means so much to me. So I think that when you go through adversity, like we're all going through now to some extent, you come out of it at the end. You do come out of it at the end. Sorry, this is very emotional for me because it's been a major part of my life. So.
It's only the 6 of us and everyone on YouTube, but
over and over and over again.
Someone's story. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing. We appreciate it.
I'm glad I asked that question. Yes.
Yeah. Going. Oh no, trust me. It's funny. It's funny that I still get really emotional about it, but I think that this is one of the great things about traveling and getting out of your comfort zone and going to other countries and meeting different people, and they have different, life experiences. I mean, it makes you think, it makes you ponder, it makes you be more empathetic, but it also helps you to craft your own life and grow in that and expand your horizon and transformation too. So.
I think 2021 is going to be the year of transformation, huh?
That's right.
We're all growing, and thank you for sharing, Angela. I feel like I've never met you, but I got a really good. When I saw who was going to be on the call, I just instantly I said something about her aura or her energy. That I want to get to know her. I want to know who this person is.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Thank you.
Lee.
Okay, 2021 for me is definitely a year of growth. I can see it. I am an Aquarius. They all saying the age of Aquarius, the energy is here. So
age of Aquarius.
There you go. So growth. That's where my focus is this year, is to grow my business, grow myself, and just go with the flow, go for the ride, be open to the change, be open to the transformation, and to be okay with that. And looking at it, like Shirley said, glass half full. Regardless if we're in a pandemic or not, what can I get out of this in the best way possible? Look at whatever I can in a positive way. And yeah, that's the way I decided to go through 2021 this year.
Mm.
Be open. Growth.
Yeah.
So let's see where it takes me. 6 months in. I wouldn't mind doing another call like this. 6 months in, we all touch base and see
Oh,
where
yeah.
we're at.
That will happen.
I was thinking
Revisit
that.
what
That
we've
was,
said.
oh, no, I already wrote it down.
6 months. I think 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months, you can really see something.
Yeah.
Something like this, something like this, something like this, something like that, but you'll really see something. So I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. No, it's been, I think 2020 it was, I not that I was like moving around so much, but you know, when the pandemic hit, everything just went, you know, most people just lost like, oh, well, here they're not working, but they're doing something else so they can work from home. I couldn't do either thing. I couldn't work, and and then we had a whole schedule full of gigs up until the summer and going away. All of it shut down. So it was like, oh, nothing. Okay. You know, and so that took, I think it took more out of me than I thought it would mentally. Um, Even though I was like, no, I'm cool, I'm cool. You know, I think mentally it really took a lot physically and psychologically out of me, trying to at least stay even. You know, you just all the time just trying to stay even. So, but I always, you know, tried to do something. You know, always trying to do something, or thinking of things to do. Even with this was one of the things that I got, like I said, from some other source, and I could have started it months beforehand, but I just didn't have the gumption, the courage to do that, because I think, they won't want to do this. No one's gonna want to do this, you know. And I was like, you know what? Nothing beats a try but a fail. You know, all I could do is ask, and all I could say is no. You know, so I was happy that, you know, that Kathryn and the other comedians said yes, because that was my first program. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to try doing this. And I think it's even more of a therapeutic thing, because one, it's not, it wasn't for the fact of, you know, it wasn't a typical, yeah, we're gonna have like a Zoom meeting like you're going for work. This is literally just, it's a catch up. It's a socialization. For me, it's seeing people that I can't see normally on a regular basis. I mean, for everyone else, it's like meeting other people, getting other connections going, and realizing that we have more in common than not.
Right.
You know, and that actually made me feel much better, and looking more forward to 2021, with this, and hopefully starting to work again later on, and working with, you know, I'm still doing stuff with the band. We're going to be recording, of course you have to do all that distance stuff, but we have that written, we have that down pat. We can do that, we have no problem. But I think, yeah, emotionally it was a lot. I hope, and I have faith that 2021 will be a better year with many more improvements than not. Um,
I definitely feel you, Jermaine. I mean, I didn't really kind of realize until the end of 2020 what a lifestyle being in entertainment is, you know, that we're out several nights a week,
mhm.
literally communicating stories with other people all the time, and we
Yeah.
meet new people every night, or you know, yeah, and meeting our friends. And yeah, it's a lot to have it taken away. And I think it's taken a lot for me for like my Energizer Bunny batteries, because I also feel like I'm super driven and I've got my head in the zone all the time. Yeah, okay, wait, I'm gonna change my answer. 2021 is letting all of it go, because now I'm on this mission where I realize that I've been Energizer Bunny for a long time, and I've started to do so many things that I'm supposed to be doing, or like, you know, things that I think I should be doing. And now I have this practice every day where I ask myself what I want, like what's my dream, like what do I want to, then let it go. And let it just like, so let myself just be calm and be peaceful for as long as possible, and like feel the real answers coming out. I just want to say, I know you've probably heard this a dozen times, Angela, but your experience is your experience. Like I've also been through some turmoil last year in my marriage, and yeah, not either of our proudest moments, and a lot of, yeah, I really related to a lot of what you said, and I appreciate you opening up about your experience, because it is like truly amazing how you can come out on the other side and see how strong you are.
Mhm.
And also that, like, the love that I have inside myself is not something that, like, it'll always be replenished, like, within myself somewhere, you know.
Mhm.
And that had some very challenging moments where things felt really hard. But yeah, this is my favorite time of women talk. When we're all here for it. Yeah, but you know, it feels really amazing to not feel so lonely, you know, because
Yeah.
I
that's
think
how I
we,
can
I,
feel.
yeah, I think we at times take for granted how strong we actually are until we have to do something where we have to be strong, um, or just to do something that we have to do, and we're like, no, I can't do that for whatever reason, and then it's like, no, you have to do that. You have to do that, and you know, you bite the bullet, you do what you have to do, and you get it done. And for me, I feel it's a part of how probably all of us as women, but but for me personally, as how I was brought up, because it wasn't it. You know, you always had that statement, "Do as I say, not as I do." But I remember all the time. Just, I mean, I did what my mama said. I mean, but I also watched what she did, and there were things that I saw her do that I do now, that I've done in my lifetime. You know, she would not let things stop her from getting from point A to point B. No one, no man, no husband, no person, nothing. It's like, oh, you said no? Okay. You know, and then
Watch
she
me.
just, yeah, and then it wasn't even a watch me. It was just, okay, you can keep that. I'm still going to find another way. You know, it's almost like somebody saying, you know, and thinking they have this power. And it's like, no, no, no. You're just an obstacle. I can get over obstacles, you know. And I think that that's what our lives are just full of obstacles. And it's like, oh, okay, let me just step over that stone and just keep on going, because there is a smoother path. All the roads are not filled with stones, you know. And if they are, you just step over them, you know, no matter how big you might have to climb it, you know, it might be a mountain. It might be tough, but you know, we're strong enough to get over all of that. I feel, you know,
I
so
agree with that.
especially as women, and with all the things that we have done in our lifetime, we cannot be sad. Noreen, we need a happy note.
Noreen, where are you?
I'm right here. Like, we're born with the power. We're born with the power, right?
There you go.
Life just happens. We forget for a minute, and then we come back, and here it is,
There you
bigger and better.
go.
Right? That's
Most
real talk.
definitely.
Yeah, that's true.
Because with Noreen, let me tell you about Noreen. I'm gonna confess it. Yes, I am. I have known Noreen since we were. Don't whine your
You know,
eyes
I'm
at
like,
me,
what's she
girl.
gonna say? What's she gonna say, y'all? What's she
We
gonna say?
we have literally known each other all our lives, like literally from that womb kind of moment. And I have always admired her in the weirdest of ways. Because yes, I mean because she always reminded me of this person who'd look at you. She kind of reminded me of my mother, because she'd look at you like, oh, okay, that's how it's gonna be. Okay, well, you know what? Thank you. I'm going over here, and just and just like do whatever
Who
she.
taught us? Your mother taught us. Like, we'd be in the kitchen, and she'd be spending it all on us, and we'd be sitting right there like,
Yeah, but see, y'all got taught and then left. I was still in the house, so that was other
man,
stuff.
hallelujah, hallelujah.
So, and Noreen has always been one of those inspirational women who were just full of, and as she grew older, just became more full of power as she grew, and you just every time you're around her, you just kind of sucked it up, and and she was always willing to
Girl.
give it. She was just always willing, here you go, Which needs some more here.
Just
So
had to receive that. I didn't know. Ooh, thank you for this moment. I didn't know. Thank you. And here's the thing, like we all light, right?
yeah,
We all are light,
yeah,
my Mamie.
yes.
Yes.
Yes, and she always reminded me that we are all light. You got
Yeah.
this. Go. I'm okay.
Even
So
that which seems dim is light. You don't mess me up, girl. Ooh.
so how are all of you powerful women feeling?
Good.
Good. I'm gonna
I
take
saw
this 3
I
days.
saw Shirley take a breath. I literally
Yeah.
saw you take a breath.
What's that
Because I
mean?
wanted to know if we could just, answer that in like not a sentence, but use adjectives.
Sure enough.
Mm.
Anyone you like.
What?
Mm.
Because I feel empowered,
Yeah.
connected,
Yeah.
Mm.
aware.
Mhm.
And I
I
thought
feel
instead of saying a sentence, using adjectives that would, because of meeting all of you guys and the conversation and hearing your individual stories, that's what my takeaway is from.
yeah.
Mhm.
I feel relief and I think I feel relief in the empowerment for authenticity.
Mhm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm gonna
I
write
feel
that down so I don't forget that.
all that,
I have
and well,
that.
look at she got it written down. I mean, I feel all that and just and strong. The strength. I mean, just the strength of you women here together, and all of us is like you say, giving those pieces of the story, and knowing that everything, all of it's connected. Angela's stories is connected to Kathryn's story, that's connected to mine, to Noreen, to Shirley, to Lyota. Everything is all connected. There is no huge difference in any of us except maybe how we fight that battle. But the one thing we do is fight it. We do step up and fight that battle.
I agree.
Getting vapors.
I know. I'm getting verklempt. I've been verklempt. I know. This is good. I'm really glad you invited me to this today because we have a 3-day weekend because it gives me it's like a relief, like a release, and it's like okay, and it helps me kind of framework in my mind what I'm going to be thinking about for the next 2.5 days as I go into next week. Because I have a lot going on, but it's making me think about okay, what I need to do for me so that I'm whole going forward. So that when we get back together, our group here in 6 months, that there's some progression on my end,
On
that's
all
the
of our ends, yeah.
that's how I look at it. So maybe in 6 months I'll be able to come to Sweden.
That would be nice. And it'd also be nice if someone else on this screen would eventually get to Sweden. We won't say who that person is because they already know. I've been
It's just
trying to
like
get her here for years. Years. Don't be
really?
blanking out. Bring your behind back over here. You think you are.
Well, it's she should come. It's one thing. It's one of the things that happened in COVID that I will admit to is that I actually made the correct recipe for shukbula for Christmas.
Really?
I've always made my own recipe for shukbula.
Mm-hmm.
I actually followed a recipe for shukbula with the
Mm-hmm.
correct ratio of meats I'm like, oh my God, I've been missing out on this all this time for me making it. Other people make it, but yes. So that's one thing I did learn during COVID. So.
I'm glad.
That's a good thing to go around with, like what we learned during COVID. Nice.
This is true. What did we learn during COVID?
I learned how to make different kinds of bread. and I gained about 8 kilos on that as well.
Yes. Oh my God.
Okay.
Say it loud, say it proud. Share your recipes.
And then one of my favorite Swedish Christmas thing that I like, and it's a recipe from way up north in Lapland. A friend of mine gave me this recipe. It's called grisfoot pate, so pig feet pate.
That's what I thought you said.
That sounds good though.
It's really good. And it's, you chop it up after you've like gotten it cooked and put, the celery and the onions, and it was delicious.
That sounds good, actually.
That sounds.
I made my own
interesting.
eggnog for the first time for Christmas. I had to separate the
Really?
egg whites and stuff, and yeah, felt very fancy. I guess I can't say I learned this, but what I've been doing during COVID times is coloring in like adult coloring books. So I can't say I learned.
Oh
it,
my
but I've
gosh,
done a
it's so
couple pretty
funny.
good.
It's so funny because I'm looking at one right on my desk that was sent to me by my company as part of a wellness thing right here that I've yet to open.
Yeah.
Do it. It's so nice. Like listen.
It's called color therapy.
Yeah.
Yes, meditation coloring book.
Yeah.
I guess I better try it out. Maybe it'll be helpful.
I figured I might.
It is. Like just listen to a meditation, open a bottle of wine. No, I'm just kidding.
Then you'd be all coloring outside the line. It's like all of it can be read.
That's true.
I'm a creative child. That's what my teachers always said.
Oh, but this has been great. I am so happy that you ladies were able to come. There is power within. There is power right here on this screen, and I'm so glad that I was able to be here with y'all, and y'all were able to be here with me, and be here with our audience that has been listening to us. I hope you guys have taken something away of this show. I want to thank, with multitude of thanks, to Shirley and to Kathryn and to Lyota and Angela and Noreen for being with us today. And 6 months from now, this particular team will get together again. You'll see them in other shows as well. I'm still going to have these. But 6 months from now, this group is going to get back together again and check in. And hopefully we will be several steps ahead
So I have
where we were.
Those pages written in the book.
And Angela will have some of that script written for her movie.
I don't know about that, but
okay, the thought, the pattern.
We are a yes. We are a yes. We are a yes to universe.
okay. Well,
if it's put out there.
Okay. We'll put it as a yes. Okay, we'll have
Process.
something.
Put it out there.
The process.
We'll have an outline or something.
An outline. That's like the process. The process. Just something with the process.
It's a process.
But it is so great to see you guys. Everyone else, I'm glad you were here to watch with us. I'm so happy that you liked our conversation and our chit chat and our talk about popcorn that I still want. Thank you, Miss Shirley. We got to find good popcorn here in Stockholm. I haven't found any yet. Y'all got to message me, tell me where I can get some good popcorn. Anyway, loved hearing from you all. I hope you guys, if you haven't liked the page, like the video, please like it, subscribe, because there will be another one next Saturday, because next week is going to be hot, considering the fact we have our wonderful inauguration for the U.S. to swear in our new elect president and vice president.
Woo! Cancel student debt. Cancel student debt. Legalize marijuana. Okay, just kidding. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm calm. I'm calm, Shirley. I'm calm.
And, they should make that day a national holiday. They should make voting. National Voting Day for presidential election, and they should make the inauguration day federal holidays. Because honestly, all I want to do, I've got my whole day is packed that day, but all I want to do is watch the inauguration. That's all I really want to do.
We're putting it out there. We're putting it out there. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
But all of you, especially in the States, please be careful.
Yeah. Take care of yourselves over there, everybody.
Yes.
Send pictures.
Yeah.
Love
Well,
you all.
yeah.
See you guys sooner or later. Like I said, subscribe to the channel so you can see next Saturday and any other video, and you can look back at the other ones that I've had so far. Much love and sunshine to everyone. Take care of yourselves. Ladies, hang out for a few minutes, but everyone else, we will see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Out.
Yeah, thank you.
Ah.
Thumbs up.
I'm gonna go like this now.